Now the latest ITV News Central with Bob Warman and Samina Ali Khan.
Welcome to ITV News Central. On our programme tonight, candles light up King's Standing to remember the 79-year-old woman killed in a gas explosion, while many families still remain homeless.
It's been like a village coming together to support one another in a time of need.
The post-COVID struggle for students trying to get into university. We'll find out why and what help is available. And it's a sad day for us here in the studio and you at home, as it's Bob's last programme. We'll take a trip down memory lane as we look back at his incredible career.
And of course it is Monday, July the 4th, a very special day indeed, 2022. When it comes to our weather story, high pressure is going to be the dominating feature over the next few days. Join me later and I'll tell you more.
Good evening. A week on since a gas explosion in Birmingham killed a 79-year-old woman, her neighbours paid tribute to her and to those whose homes were destroyed.
A man still remains critically ill in hospital following the explosion on Dulwich Road in King's Standing last Sunday. Hundreds gathered at a vigil where the local MP said she was immensely proud of the way the community had responded. Pablo Taylor reports.
A street still in shock. Beside the rubble left by last week's explosion, Dulwich Road in King's Standing gathered in solidarity. The work to demolish the homes here may only be half done, but for many, the horrors of the blast will never be erased.
The whole house shook. My missus came running into me saying, "What the hell was that?" I says, "This is serious, we need to get out." We couldn't really see anything, didn't know what happened. There was a shrapnel falling everywhere. It was like a scene from a horror movie.
But not everyone escaped with their life. The explosion, now confirmed to have been caused by an accidental gas leak, killed 79-year-old grandmother Doreen Mace. Another man suffered life-threatening injuries. He remains in hospital. The days that followed saw a mass outpouring of generosity from the people of the area, who donated what they could to those forced out of damaged homes.
Many of them have not got much resources, but they've given the little they've got. As a community, I've said before, it's been like a village coming together to support one another in a time of need.
Last night also saw an emotional return for Vinroy Johnson, whose house has since been flattened. Now living without most of his possessions, he's felt the support of his community when he's needed it most.
Since this thing happened now, I see a lot of people come out and say, "You're all right, and what have you need anything, if you need anything, just come and just knock me door and told me, and I can support you and appreciate that all what I get there."
New homes will inevitably replace the ones that once stood here. But it's hard to imagine Dulwich Road ever forgetting the events of last Sunday, as it rebuilds in more ways than one. Pablo Taylor, ITV News.
Some news in brief now, and the Midlands Metropolitan Hospital will open in Smethwick in 2024, combining medical services from across Sandwell. It will see Sandwell General Hospital and City Hospital become one healthcare facility and will be operated by Sandwell and West Birmingham NHS Trust. Today's announcement comes following years of delays, including the collapse of the construction firm Carillion.
A head teacher from Nuneaton says the first post-COVID school leavers are being shortchanged as universities are being more hesitant with offers. A baby boom in the early 2000s means there are more 18-year-olds applying for fewer places, as universities claim they were oversubscribed during the pandemic.
Well, this means that students predicted to receive A-star grades are facing a string of rejections and missing out, as Catherine Walker reports.
18-year-old Ellie has always dreamed of becoming a doctor. But despite being predicted some of the top grades in her school, she's been rejected from all of her chosen universities.
Obviously, I was really disappointed, and I spent a lot of time revising because obviously you need AAA to do medicine. And then when I got my rejections after my interviews as well, it was a bit of, well, what am I supposed to do now? Because it has been my plan and my goal for a really long time.
New research suggests that universities are looking to stabilise numbers after a surge during the pandemic. Overall, the offer rate for university applications is down by 4%. At the most selective universities, offers have dropped by 7%, and medicine and dentistry applicants have felt the biggest impact, with universities making 13% fewer offers. After 2 years of disruption from COVID, one principal in Nuneaton says it's taking its toll.
I think for many of our young people, one of the issues they're facing is when they apply for courses that required some degree of work experience, often in specialist settings, which they just couldn't do during the pandemic. So now we're seeing some students actually shut out from those options because they don't have the experience, but they do have the grades.
It's a frustration shared by the Shadow Education Secretary, who claims this shortage of places was avoidable.
There has been a total lack of planning. We knew this problem would be coming even from last year, where we had all of that chaos around exams then. And there hasn't been the planning that needs to go on with the universities, working with them. So ministers working directly with universities to make sure that our children are able to move on to that next step in their lives.
But the government claims there isn't a problem and says they are investing in university places.
The government does not cap university places. The only areas which we do have a cap in place is for dentistry and medicine. And we have invested a record amount in our universities in the last decade to enable them to grow places where they want, where the demand is there. And we know that some courses are growing this year. Some have decided to restrict some places, and they're autonomous. They are independent in law.
Universities UK say they won't know if and how many students have been affected until results day. But for those top candidates who've already faced rejection, it's proving to be a testing summer. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Well, earlier we spoke to Claire Marchant from UCAS, the University Admissions Service, about what students can do.
Students can absolutely go through clearing this year when it opens, and there'll be over 30,000 courses available, so lots and lots of choice. And then there's also degree and higher apprenticeships through UCAS Career Finder, so lots of choice, and students should be reassured that there is lots of choice. They've just got to be prepared and do their research if they're thinking of using clearing. All universities are doing clearing as normal. What I would say is there'll be some very competitive institutions, very competitive courses at those institutions that are just a bit tougher to get into than a usual year. But that's really a sign of years to come as we have more 18-year-olds in the UK population year on year. So if you don't get the offer you want, or you wake up on results day and you haven't got what you want, I think that the big thing is to have a plan B. So I've done a bit of research and think, actually, if I don't get those grades, what am I going to do? And do that research now so you're in the best position possible to make a really informed decision come the results day. That would be my advice. And there's lots of people to support you doing that. So there's UCAS colleagues on phones, on social media, teachers and advisors, but also UK admissions professionals in universities and colleges.
Now, it is that time of year again when we want your help to find a fundraiser in our region who goes above and beyond to raise money for charity and help others. The person chosen will represent ITV at the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards.
Now, last year, Veronica Cometa from Bromsgrove was our ITV regional finalist. She founded Ladies Fighting Breast Cancer after losing two close friends to the disease. She's raised huge sums of money for hospital equipment and supported thousands of women through their treatment. Veronica joined the stars at the glitzy Pride of Britain Awards ceremony in London last year.
I've had an absolutely incredible night. It's been amazing, number one, to be here, because when you sit at home with your box of tissues, never in your wildest dreams do you think you're going to actually attend an event like this. And it's really wonderful to see that so many people around the country are doing amazing things. It makes me very proud to be British after a night like tonight. Really proud.
And if you would like to nominate someone, you can head to our website. It's itv.com/Pride of Britain, and you'll find all the details.
Right, well now let's move into the world of sport, and there were big moves at Birmingham City this weekend.
On Saturday, the club announced that they parted company with head coach Lee Bowyer. On Sunday, his replacement John Eustace was confirmed. Well, our sports correspondent Steve Clamp joins us now, and Steve, was this a surprise?
I don't think it was a huge surprise. Lee Bowyer had been critical of some elements of the way the club was being run recently, mainly relating to transfer budgets. The club said the reason they felt they needed someone fresh was that results weren't good enough overall last season. They did finish in 20th, worryingly close to relegation, although they didn't look like going down. So they've brought in John Eustace. His most recent role was assistant manager at Queen's Park Rangers. Go a little further back and he had a decent spell in charge of Kidderminster Harriers. Well, speaking of his appointment, he said, "We have underachieved in the past few seasons, and a club of this size, with the support that this club has, we need to be aiming higher." Good luck to John and to Birmingham City. Now, elsewhere, players and coaches from the Midlands played a big part in England being crowned European Under-19s champions on Friday. The match with Israel was poised at 1-1 after 90 minutes, but two Aston Villa players scored in extra time to secure the win. Kari Chukwuemeka won't score many with his chest, but they all count, and that was a key one. And the win was ensured by Villa teammate substitute Aaron Ramsey. A wonderful occasion for the team and for the head coach. Former Kidderminster Harriers player Ian Foster, there he is, having a good time. I imagine this is a bigger claim to fame than the fact that he occasionally turns out for the five-a-side team I play for on Sunday nights. So well done to Ian, well done to the team, and that is actually true. I do play five-a-side with him, and it's also true that I didn't realise he was the coach of the under-19s until they won the tournament. I did wonder why he was so good, though.
Yeah, and, well, how good are you?
Not as good as him.
Oh, thanks very much, Steve. Now, the ITV Evening News follows our programme. Let's see what's coming up with Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up, the latest on allegations of sexual harassment by Conservative MP Chris Pincher. What did the Prime Minister know before promoting the MP at the last reshuffle? Inflation hits school dinners. Suppliers warn rising food and fuel prices coupled with supply chain delays could impact school meals. And we talk to British tennis hopeful Cameron Norrie ahead of his Wimbledon quarter-final tomorrow. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
It is a sad day for us here at Central because it is Bob's last day. After almost 50 years on your screens, Bob's now hanging up his earpiece and his mic for a well-deserved retirement. So for the rest of the programme, Bob, we are going to look at your wonderful career and we're going to start with some of your most memorable moments. Have a look.
Here we go.
This is the street the residents have dubbed Earthquake Alley. They know all about earth tremors down here. They've had 3 of them in the past week. Tremors which have sent tiles skidding down from roofs, toppling chimney pots and setting the old china jangling on the sideboard.
Bill, it's not that I'm a coward or anything, but I don't think I'm going to have a swim today. I don't know what it is. I think I'll just call it a day, all right?
Well, that's up to you, huh?
What did you do that for?
I didn't touch you.
Just across the road, the Aston Hippodrome, which gave this pub an enviable clientele. Vesta Tilley, Mary Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy. Yes, they've all been in here and they've all ordered a tot through this snob screen. Why a snob screen? Well, in those days, in Victorian days, it wasn't done to be seen in a pub. So, if you were in the lounge bar, you ordered your pint or whatever, and you took a peep through the snob screen to see who was in the public bar. It's an amazing relic, isn't it?
This lunchtime for the ATV region. There were few signs this morning of an immediate return to work by Leyland strikers following yesterday's peace deal.
This strike's unofficial, so how long are you prepared to stick it out?
As long as it takes.
Mr. Phelan, thanks very much.
When's it going to be on?
Oh, 6:30 tonight on Central News.
Look forward to seeing it. Thanks a
Okay,
lot.
bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon, the lunchtime news for the Central region, and we begin with football.
I'll state my case, of which I'm certain.
Actually, this is what Bob looks like when he's not working. What is it?
Well, listen, when I was a kid, which was not that long ago, the Black Country always began in the next town. Because you didn't want to belong to the Black Country. Now, everyone wants to belong to the Black Country, so it's expanding all the time now.
Just in case. Thank you very much. I don't need this.
This is a 40-year dream come true, this is. Wow. Not bad. Not bad. Anything a bit bigger? I love it.
Now, particularly that last one.
Yeah.
The health and safety was non-existent.
No, wasn't it?
Oh, you were really good.
Oh, come on.
Oh, it's lovely memories, though, Bob.
Oh, terrific
Bit of
memories. And,
everything.
gosh, yes, I mean, the Spitfire, a trip in a Spitfire.
Yeah.
That's what dreams are made of. It's absolutely
Yes.
wonderful. Yeah.
And you were educating us, the snob screen, which was quite interesting.
That's interesting. Yes, it's still there in the Barton's Arms in Birmingham. It's still there, the snob screen. Yeah.
And we know what you'd look like if you were auditioning for some one of those programmes about the Black Country in particular, with your little flat cap.
Well, you know, I've got a great love affair with the Black Country and all its characters and its habits and its poetry. I love the place. I really do. Yeah.
I know there was some lovely, and we liked seeing your reaction to that as well. But our viewers have had a lot of reaction to what you've been doing over the years, and you shared some of your own personal experiences during the pandemic, in particular when it was very hard for everybody, and we had a little bit of footage actually of you and Des, because you were both shielding at the time.
Oh, right,
so
yes.
let's have a look.
Yes.
Bob, let's start with you. Is that a touch of facial hair I can see?
Well, you can't escape it, can you? This is the sort of thing that you do in lockdown. Plenty of time to do it, and Des is always going on about his facial growth. So I thought I'd just give it a go. I've never had a beard before in my life, and I've never particularly liked them, but I'm told they really are the height of fashion. So I thought, well, let's give it a crack.
It didn't last.
I was going to say.
It started to itch very quickly. I thought,
Yeah,
no,
got rid of it.
Not me at all, no.
Oh, well, lots of people, Bob, across the Midlands are really, really going to miss you, and they're going to miss seeing you, going to miss watching you. I know, because every time I've been out recently, they've said we're going to miss Bob.
Oh, well, I'm going to miss them as well. I'm going to miss the viewers, of course I am, yeah.
Well, we've got lots of messages now from viewers in Leicester and your hometown of Walsall.
Oh, right.
Hi Bob, happy retirement.
It won't be the same Central News. Bob was more than just the news. He just made the news more interesting.
I'd just like to tell him I shall miss him when he goes, watching him on telly. And good luck for the future for him. Think about it very often.
We've lived a few different places in the Midlands and it's just always been there. A friendly face.
I remember him being on Yorkshire Television in probably late 60s, early 70s. And then he must have moved to Midlands after that. But yeah, very good presenter.
I met him at the St Paul's Church a couple of years ago. Got his autograph. Yeah, I say he's a nice chap.
And he's always very smartly dressed. It's just him, and I think he's a very, very nice, thoroughly nice man.
I didn't realise he was that old. But yeah, he don't look it, does he? There's only going to be one Bob Warman.
The others are going to come with their own style and their own thing going on, because there's only going to be one Bob.
Well, I've always enjoyed your presentation, very professional, and I wish you a happy retirement.
Bob, I've grown up with you for X amount of years. You made Central News what it was, and unfortunately it will not be the same without you. But all the best in your retirement, and I wish you a long and fulfilled life as you have made mine. All the best, and thank you very, very, very much.
Have a good time, Bob.
Happy retirement, Bob. Well done to you, mate.
Well, thank you to all of you very much. I mean, it's very touching, that, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely comments there as well, isn't it? You're a very smart man, lovely man, all of that.
Oh, well, yeah. And they've got very long memories as well, haven't they?
They have, yes. Well, you've been there for such a long time, that's it.
Most of their lives.
And yeah, most of their lives. Yeah. And Bob, you know, we know you've got massive, well, the person who's going to take over has got massive shoes to fill. That person is here. He's with us, Steve. I know your feet are probably size 11s, but,
do you know, they're size 12,
Steve,
it still won't be big enough, I don't think.
Yes. Any tips for Steve, Bob?
Oh, I can't give Steve. I mean, there's a seasoned broadcaster taking over. I can't give you any tips except this. Just enjoy it.
Oh, I think I will. I think we're working with Sam. We have such a giggle. But I tell you what, Bob, I think just this last week, I was in the newsroom and you were in, and you went over to one of our colleagues who's a little less experienced than you, which, let's face facts, is almost everybody in the newsroom. And they'd written a script for your lunch bulletin, and I heard you in the loveliest manner say, look, why don't we try writing it like this instead? But you know what it was? It was your tone was lovely. It wasn't, you didn't talk down to them. And I think that's those little touches where people will learn from you. And I think that's so it's not just what you give the viewers, it's what you give to the staff here. And I think that's something I will try and do, Bob.
Of course you will.
Take on your tone of voice. It's lovely.
Of course you will. That's very kind.
Thank you for that, Steve. But we've got some really special messages out for you, Bob, this time from some really well-known faces.
Oh. He's an absolute legend. He's an institution, isn't he? He's an absolute institution, is Bob. I mean, I remember, I was born in 74, so I think he started his career in 73. But, you know, he was just there. He was there on the telly. He was always there. The day wasn't the same. If he wasn't there, he had to be there. A real constant.
Of course, the old boy's clonking on a bit. God knows he's nearly, I think he's nearly as old as me. But to achieve that longevity and that much respect and that much love and warmth for this figure in the corner of your room every night takes a lot of years of hard graft, you know. So he's put the hard hours in, and just because he's not on the telly anymore locally, people won't forget him.
I am sad to know that he's leaving. I'm sure everybody will not want him to go and will, you know, cherish the lovely memories that he's given us, so many fun moments, and always been there, supportive. That's the lovely Bob.
How nice. How very nice of Rusty.
Feeling the love.
I certainly have it.
Lots of love, isn't there?
Yes.
And somebody's dressed up for the occasion, I have to say.
Oh, wow.
Des. Sharp.
Very sharp, Des.
Well, thank you, Bob. But you know something? I honestly, with a heavy heart, I stand here because I know when you announced it, I was absolutely gutted, and I didn't think this day would ever arrive. So I'm heartbroken that you're leaving, because over the years that we've spent together, mate, you know, we've shared a lot of stories. We've told stories about pushing at the gate and trying to move on through life and that sort of thing. So, but you're a bloke that I respect immensely, and above all, I really value your opinion, which is absolutely great. So, Bob, all the best towards your future. And let me just say to the viewers at home about this gentleman right here, this character right here. We went for lunch earlier on today, and upstairs in the office there's all these balloons, there's all these cars, and everyone's going, Bob, you're great. Bob sits with me having coffee, and he looked at me literally in the eyes and says, Des, I don't deserve it. He didn't think he deserved it. That's the sort of bloke that he is. So, Bob, all the viewers out there...
I've got a lump in my throat, I really have.
All the viewers out there love you. You've been around for how many decades? And I am so sad to see you leave. It's going to be the Bob Warman era, and then whatever happens after that. Anyway, time now, I believe, to go to the weather just after this.
ITV Central weather is sponsored by Octopus, the renewable energy company.
Well, I'm sure it hasn't escaped your attention that today is Monday, the 4th of July, a very special day indeed. Why? Quite simply, it is Bob's last day. But when it came to our weather story, it has been fairly settled and will continue to be fairly settled as we head towards the end of the week, mainly down to this area of high pressure here that's going to suddenly feed in as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Currently, though, we are being influenced by this area of low. It is pulling air down from the northwest. That's why over the course of today, especially this morning, we saw a couple of rogue showers. As we do head into the overnight, quite a benign night. There's not really an awful lot going on. We've got some broken cloud. It's going to be a dry night. The winds died down. We've got no mist, any fog to speak of. Quite a quiet night, like I say. Temperatures on average around 11 degrees, 11 to 12 degrees. 12 degrees, by the way, 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Waking up tomorrow morning and enjoying the day again. Decent spells of bright weather coming through, mainly settled. A couple of rogue showers towards the far north and west that don't cause any problems. And temperatures again climbing to around 21 degrees. If you're curious as to the weather 50 years ago, we saw frequent heavy rain and thunder, but it was sunny during the first and last weeks.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Now, grass pollen is at its peak. Fortunately, over the next couple of days, it's going to start dying away, a couple of days and weeks. If you do suffer, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, the count's very high.
You were sniffing. It's hay fever.
I was. It is hay
yes,
fever, yes, I
promise. Oh, Bob, I guess all that's left for me to say really is that the Central family is not going to be the same. We are all going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. I've worked with you for such a long time. Yeah. You've taught me loads and we've had a giggle.
We certainly have.
Had a laugh.
It's been really wonderful.
Sometimes when we shouldn't have.
Quite.
But we are all going to miss you and hopefully the programme will continue to meet those standards that I know you maintain. And yes, thank you for the dictionary.
Yes, of course. Well, I have to say, you know, I've been absolutely inundated with goodwill messages and cards from viewers who've been watching our programme for years and years, and viewers who've grown up with me from a young age, and they're now in their 50s and 60s. Yeah. Extraordinary feeling. How do you repay that sort of loyalty, other than to say thank you and to let you know what a real pleasure and privilege it's been to be in your living room throughout the years. You'll always be the finest audience in the finest region. I believe that. And although I'm leaving Central, well, I certainly won't be leaving the region. So exciting times ahead. But from now on, I'll be one of the viewers and watching the news rather than relating it. But for now, a very big thank you and my warmest wishes to each and every one of you.
Those are really lovely words, Bob. But that is not quite it, because we do have an and finally, in time-honoured fashion, just for you. I know you said you didn't want a cake, so we didn't get you a cake, I promise you that. But we did get you something else instead. And this is it. Let's have a look. This is the eye at the Plaza at Birmingham's Grand Central.
Believe it.
And it says, bye-bye, Bob. I love the fact you got the mug, the ITV Central. Yes. Right on brand, Bob. Brilliant. How do you feel about it? Look at that. Everybody's looking at that.
Oh, extraordinary. Well, I guess I'm leaving on platform one.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what an extraordinary send-off. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. It's been really wonderful.
Yeah, we'll miss you, Bob, definitely. Oh, you take care, all right? Stay in touch. From the team here, have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh.
I'm just a lad from Walsall.
Bob Warman, Mr. Midlands.
I'm vacating the seat here.
It's a shame that he's retiring.
After nearly 50 years.
He's been a part of everybody's life.
People won't forget him.
He's an institution.
I'm proud of him.
Bob Warman, Mr. Midlands, tonight at 10:45 on ITV.